In this section, we will get started working with Python code. First, we will learn about the differences between Python 2 and Python 3. Currently, Python version 3 is the latest version of Python. Version 2 is still pretty frequently used in terms of legacy systems support. We will run through a simple beginner coding exercise of writing a Hello World program with Python. Whenever you are learning a new language, it is a tradition to first learn how to output Hello World to the console. I will walk you through how to do this step by step. Then there is a coding exercise where you will do it by yourself to ensure that you retain the information. Then we will learn about variables. Variables are the building blocks of computer science, and we will go over the types of variables that we have available to us when programming in Python. Next, we will learn about the console in PyCharm, the window that the program output is printed to. The console is an important feature of any IDE, and understanding how to work with it to view program output and help debug the program is essential. To control the flow of execution of the code that we type, we use what are called conditional statements. One of the most famous examples of a conditional statement in computer programming is the if statement. We will learn about each of the conditional statements that Python gives us access to. Then we will learn about loops. When we want to execute a block of code repeatedly, we use a loop. We will learn about the various types of loops that Python gives us access to, and when each is useful when programming. After that, we will learn about variable scope. Put simply, variable scope means that depending on the location of a variable in the code file, it could have a different meaning within the program. We will learn what local and global scope are and how to avoid some beginner pitfalls when working with these concepts. Next, we will learn about namespaces and modules. When writing code, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. There are several modules that we can import into our code to add common functionality, without having to write it ourselves from the ground up. Then we will learn about comments. Comments are non-executable lines of code that allow us to make notes for ourselves or other developers. They are a great way to explain the confusing parts of our code, or mark spots we plan on coming back to and cleaning up at a later date. After that, we will learn about the basics of working with functions in Python. A function is a reusable block of code, and all programmers need to know how to write functions. Without functions, our code would quickly become a mess that is hard to manage. Next, we will learn the basics of errors. What is an error? What are the different types of errors? We will answer these questions and more in the lecture video on errors. Then we will learn about the basic syntax for Python code. Syntax just means the rules of a programming language, so this video will cover basic rules that we need to follow when writing code in the Python programming language. Next, we will learn about the modulus operator. We will learn what it does and the role that it plays in computer programming. Finally, we will run through some of the keywords that we have available to us when working in Python to give us a better understanding of the built-in functionality we have at our disposal when writing Python code. In the next lecture, we will compare and contrast the differences between Python version 2 and Python version 3.